National Guard. In practical terms, Jeffrey, what does prepare mean versus deployment? And if the Guard is activated, how do their authorities, their training, and their use of force standards differ from police in a volatile crowd situation?
Yeah, the preparing for the National Guard is really just getting them to pre-mobilization status. So they want to make sure that all of those troops and commands are actually notified and ready, and then they get them to start getting briefed on these situations. When they are deployed, they are there for eyes of calm and eyes of present and keeping a strong security line. They're probably going to initiate some kind of a curfew at some point so that they can try to level these tensions and start decreasing them. Right now, tonight, and tomorrow are going to be the most volatile days of this incident. This is extremely tragic. It's also extremely dangerous. Of course, you're going to have to get ready to mobilize some additional assets because you need a force multiplier, which is what the National Guard would do. And they will work in sync with providing a safety delivery of resources to calm these down so they don't get riotous like we saw when you go way back to the LA riots and the other George Floyd riots. We want to make sure that this stays remain calm. Let the investigation continue. And just, I always remind people, especially activist group and activist leaders, law enforcement has a very strong history of holding people highly accountable, especially in deadly force confrontations. Let this investigation finish, and if there is fault or if there's a lack of adjustment for the training, that is going to be addressed very quickly. But this investigation has to be concluded.
You know, people have been combing through these videos, and I know you've seen them too. We've seen videos from plenty of different angles of this incident. By the way, what we're looking at right here is some of the aftermath. Okay, there's the vehicle crash itself. After the woman was shot, who I'll just reiterate, she has been identified now as Renee Nicole Good, who is described as a mother, a wife, and a poet. You know, Jeffrey, how is it possible that so many different people can have such a different take and such a different perspective after seeing the same pieces of footage capturing the same events?
Yeah, you know what makes this even worse is so much of the social media narrative can be misinformation, disinformation, and actually put a delineation of many aspects of our community as well as our nation. We're living in this right now. We really, really are. Law enforcement takes a bipartisan and a non-political stance on many issues. However, in the last few years, it's become a very, very political mission. And that is very, very dangerous. And it's very challenging because they're trying to keep the peace and keep things calm, but their mere presence can escalate and raise the tension. And that can be very, very challenging.